Hey trendsetters, let's talk real quick. Sometimes God is going to tell us to do some stuff that doesn't make any sense to us. And to our humanly flesh, we want to know more. Like, God, why you telling me to leave my job right now? Why you telling me to start a business, a ministry? Why can't I tell my best friend this? Me and her have been cool for like 20 years. I tell her everything. Why can't I tell her this? Why can't I talk to my family about this? Why can't I go out with this person? Why do you want me to move over here to this state? I wanted to move over to another state. And to us, it's not going to make any sense. So when it doesn't make sense to us, when we don't have understanding, then we will just disobey God and will go against His will, and then we won't see the consequences of our disobedience sometimes until later on. If the wise men would have disobeyed God and would have go told Herod about Jesus, they wouldn't have seen the consequences of their actions until a long time later on, because they would have told Herod and everything would have been like, okay, everything's fine. We told Herod about Jesus and everything's okay, because it takes a long trip to get over there to Bethlehem with Jesus. They didn't just get there in 2 hours. By the time the wise men got to Jesus, Jesus was a child. He wasn't a baby. So they could have told Herod and they would have thought to themselves, okay, everything is fine, and they wouldn't have saw the consequences of their actions until later on, after Herod had killed Jesus the way he wanted to. Sometimes we're just going to have to listen. When God told the wise men to go back a different way to their country and don't tell Herod about Jesus, that's what they did. They didn't question and say, why, how, this doesn't make sense. He's the one that sent us down here. They didn't go through all that. All they knew is God gave me a divine order, so that's what I'm going to do. Sometimes you're going to have to step out in faith. God didn't explain to them the whole story. He didn't explain to them as to why I don't want you to tell Herod. All he told them was don't do it. And that's what they didn't do because they trusted their God. Sometimes you're going to have faith in God and know that this doesn't make sense to me, but obviously this makes sense to him. And since he is the ruler and the creator of everything and he knows the beginning and the end, I'm going to have to step out on faith this time. I'm just going to have to do what God asks me to do. It won't make sense to you, but it makes sense to God. Sometimes it is not our job to know every single little in and out of what he said. Sometimes God does that purposely because he just wants to see how much trust and how much faith you have in him. He wants to see if you're going to do what he told you to do without asking any questions. Are you going to trust me? Are you going to have faith in me? Do you have faith the size of a mustard seed? Are you going to ask me a million questions instead of just doing what I told you to do the first time? And if I tell you to do something that doesn't make sense to you, are you going to disobey me? And then when the consequence happens, are you going to come down on your knees and beg me to fix it when this could have been prevented if you would have did what I told you to do in the first place? Sometimes we have to trust God. Trust in him. Have faith. Sometimes we're going to have to do the stuff that doesn't make sense to us, but it makes sense to him.